Alright, so we're ready to cut this unit, and the first thing you want to do is separate this into 3 sections. The first section would be the left side, and I kind of go somewhere like behind the imaginary ear, if you want to call it that, and I will see how the hair falls first. And if it falls pretty nicely, I will clip that away. So you want to make sure it's completely out of the way so you won't cut it. That way you're only focusing on the back. And then the side where you have the bulk of the hair. And when I mean the bulk of the hair, on this side, which is the right side in this case for this unit. Same thing, finding where the hair, how it falls, if it falls nicely, and you can separate it like behind the ear of the wig head or imaginary ear, and just kind of pull that away. And we'll just focus on the back. So with the back, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it in linear sections. So I'm going to take it in linear sections, and I'm going to use clippers. So you have an option of using small clippers, which are called trimmers, or a pair of larger, like cutting clippers. The brand does not matter. I know some people care about brands, but it doesn't really matter, just long as they're a pair of clippers or trimmers. And I'm just going to take a section, and I'm going to do this sideways so you guys can see it. I'm going to pull it towards me. So see, I'm pulling it towards me. And there's a section that I'm pulling. And then I'm going to take my clippers and cut downward and in an angle towards me. So downward and in an angle towards me. Again, pulling it towards me. And kind of pulling in the hairs that I've already cut, and pull it towards me. Alright, so what you actually see me doing is I'm pulling it towards me, and then I'm evening or straightening it out. So this is kind of the easiest way I can explain this to you, is that this creates an angle, or it creates a stacked bob. So giving you shorter at the top and longer at the bottom. you can align, which I'll show you. You can fix what happens here, but you can see it already starts to put you in that position of a tapered look. So when I'm talking about taper, is from short to long, or in this case, from short here and long once it's curled. So right now it's going to be a stacked bob. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling away from the wig head, and then I'm going to take my clippers and I'm going to even it out. So make it a straight line. This is the same technique you can do if you were using a pair of shears, cutting shears. So I can show you that right now. So when I pull away from me, I'll take my scissors and cut evenly. So it's the same technique, it's just that you're doing it with clippers. That probably can go in with it. So as I'm pulling, I'm evening that out, or making it a straight line, perpendicular or parallel to the hair. Perpendicular to the floor, parallel to the hair, to the head. So this takes some time, but I'm going to switch back to clippers. And find where everything is, which I think everything is pretty much good. So at this point, I'm going to use the clippers to give me a line as far as the length in the back. So I have my comb, I'm pulling it towards me, and that gives me a ability to push towards the neck of the wig head. And this is kind of my starting point of how I'm going to blend this into the rest of the wig. So I'm not going to cut a lot because it's the starting point. And then I'm going to start on the left side. I'm going to take this by levels going upward. So I'm going to twist this out the way. Wonder if it'll let me get that going. Yep. Clippers or trimmers. Go on a diagonal. And that gives you your length right there. And doing this kind of like upward layer by layer. So don't try to do this all one section at a time, because it may not need it that way. It's better to make sure everything is even and according to the length you need. You can also do this with a pair of scissors too. So if you look, cut it in that angle. So last set here, comb it down, find where it is, and cut. Then you come here in this area, because as you can see, it's not quite blended the way that it should be. So when I come into this and try to blend it, I'm just going to grab all of that and blend it in. Same thing if you were using scissors, if that works good for you. It's just blending in that line from one point to the other. So when we, there's still one more step we're going to go into before we curl it and then really make sure that this cut is good. I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll show you the last thing I do to kind of make sure that the back is exactly what it needs to be. But now I'm going to go on to this side. And what I need for you guys to pay attention to is when I'm up here, I'm going to take an amount that's eye level up. So what I mean is, from this level, about this much here is going to stay down. This, I'm going to move it completely up, and we're going to work with that slightly separately. So I'm going to push this up and clip it out the way. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the left side to the right side, which I could actually do that. I'm going to show you with the clippers. So this is my left hand. I'm ambidextrous, but I'm predominantly right-handed. But you have to take your time because you got to make sure these are in the right length. So. Then I'm going to separate the front, like the bang, out of the way. And I'm just going to clip that over. And then I'm going to comb this down and check for the same thing. I can use scissors at this point, or not scissors, but shears at this point, and then kind of blend this in. And no need to cut the front because we're going to do something pretty cool with the front part. So right now, my focus right now is blending this out. You can do this with scissors and just kind of clip where it needs to go. So hair styling is about molding. It's art. It doesn't require skill. It just requires creativity. So you learn the skill as long as you have the creativity. You don't have to have the skill already. You're learning it in this series. So there's going to be several different videos that are teaching you different, you know, techniques per se. But everyone has a creative side of them. And it's just a matter of taking the information you're learning and getting your creative side to look the way you want it, or your creative idea to look the way you want using the correct techniques. But I'll explain that more so in the live videos because it's so much easier to do that when it's live because you guys usually have questions. But this is just me checking through the wig. So now that part is done, so I'm going to show you what the next part is. Alright, so before I show you the next step to kind of blend in the stacked bob, the cut itself, I'm going to heighten this and get this. I want it a little bit shorter in the back, so I'll do that. Awesome. So I take you can use clippers, and you also can use what we call a guard for this, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a straight razor. So I'm going to use a straight razor that has a comb on it. There's you can usually find these at beauty supply stores, but they have combs to them. And what I'm going to do is just kind of blend everything together by combing through the back of this. So whether you know it or not, it blends the back of the hair. It blends the cut a little bit better. And you can see that looks good. To me, it looks good, so I'm just giving you guys an idea of what it looks like if it looks good. I'm always able to fix it after I curl and style it. There's more fixing that you can do, but this is just kind of giving it a base. And the back will flow just the way I need it to. It's a stacked bob, so I want it to be really good. So, yep, there we are. So from the imaginary ear area, I'm just going to pull a nice amount of the hair, pull it down. It has everything to do with the way this hair is laid and textured. But I'm going to take my razor and just create a long bang in the front, so it just blends towards it. So you can go shorter than this. I usually don't go shorter than chin on a mannequin head because of when you curl it. So when I say I don't go shorter than that, I don't go up here. I start to cut just a little bit, a couple of inches below the chin, and then just go down. So now it's all that's left is to curl it and then see if we can finish up the style.